What's going on, everybody? Last year I had the opportunity to shoot the production days and show open for the Minnesota Vikings, where I'm the full-time cinematographer. And today I want to break down some of my favorite shots, my favorite frames, and talk about how I did it, camera, lens, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to break down the entire thing and go into a deep dive about like the story or the narrative or thematically what the director's trying to do, but more so just the technical stuff and how I achieved some of these shots. And as always, I don't want to waste any more time, so let's hop into the footage. So for this first shot of JJ McCarthy emerging through the smoke and the storm, I went with a tracking shot since he was walking towards me, and for this, I'm going with my A-cam build. For shoots where I'm one-man banding, I'll have an A-cam build that's usually a more traditional gimbal style setup where you can get orbits and dollies and push-ins and push-outs, and then I'll have a B-cam that's going to be handheld on the easy rig and typically has a lens with a little bit more character. So for this, FX6 24-70 RS4 Pro gimbal, and the direction for him was to emerge from the smoke and the storm, and I had to track that as he was coming towards me. So the FX6 and the 24-70 with the autofocus while I'm operating the gimbal helps me out a lot while I'm trying to get this kind of shot. He walks towards me, he yells, he emerges from the smoke. That's the camera that I'm going with for that kind of coverage. So for the second frame here, we've got Jalen Naylor, the wide receiver, and this is where I went to the handheld rig, my B-cam on the day, which was a Burano, the Canon rangefinder 50mm T95 on an easy rig. And this lets me visually separate from the more clean clinical A-cam look because this lens is full of character. It's got some funky flares, as you can see in this frame. It's real shallow, so I can focus the viewer's eyes. And I also know that it'll help me give a little bit of separation, like with this first down celebration. I'm bringing the viewer's eyes from the helmet to his finger as he's pointing, and I think it's important when you're switching between cameras to vary the frame and vary the look, especially as a solo shooter, since the editor is cutting the show open and the intros for the big board. So if you have two cameras and lenses and your two rigs are too similar, it's just not going to be enough to distinguish from the two. And it's your job to create that interest visually. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And we can take a look at the third frame, which is our safety, Joshua Metellus, where I'm just coming in and getting a bunch of like close-up stuff, watermarks, droplets from the storm that we had created in some of the different lighting cues. And as you can see, the lens is doing a lot of lifting with some of the flares. It's just making it interesting. It's shallow, it's falling off. So again, because I know I have the A-cam coverage with the gimbal, with the cleaner FX6 24-70 build, getting some of those smoother, hyper-realistic moves, I can then come in and get the shakier handheld, the shallower lens, and really vary the frame that way. So that's kind of how that works. Players will come in and out car wash style, and I'll make sure that I get the coverage the director wants in several different lighting cues with that gimbal build. And then once the coverage is done, we'll go in and get specialty stuff. We'll get nameplates, we'll get their jewelry, we'll get their celebrations, we'll get close-ups. And then throughout the day, we'll also be getting clean plates of the environment, and then a couple silhouettes and some of the funkier stuff that I'm not going to get into today. I did fly through that, but hopefully it was still informative and helpful on how I go about covering a production day style shoot. An A to B cam, get your standard traditional coverage, and get your funk. Don't be afraid to try new things. Get crazy with it. Dutch on the nameplates or something super shallow, or have somebody grab the camera and shake it. That's one that we do as well. I didn't talk about that here today, but so if you have any questions, obviously feel free to comment that down below. Hopefully it was helpful, and I'm looking forward to doing a more thorough behind the scenes of production days this upcoming season, so stay tuned for that in a couple of months. All right, see y'all later.